I used to live in Holland, and they are just so precise about this. So it's 10 to midday on the longest day, and then it's Goedemorgen, and then the minute past of Goedemiddag. It's funny, they picked me up on that. I lived there for a year and a half. I bought a wee house in a town called, name will come to me, north of Dockham, number 25, Professor Halvard Street. So there's Fries and the language, Fries, and Dutch is obviously, it's Holland. Holvert, it's called Holvert, little town north of Dockham. Leeuwarden is the sort of main county town of, and this language thing, I actually know the opening to the Lord's Prayer in it because I used to chat with, I bought a fire for my place, one of those gas, but a nice proper looking one with a pot belly and a pipe up in the house, so you get almost all the heat into the house. It was gas, it wasn't, I actually had a proper one out in France, a real one with logs and so on. Onze Vader, die in de hemelen zit, right, which doesn't sound like Dutch, does it? Because it's Fries, the language, and on the west of Holland, they're sort of indigenous, old-fashioned locals who speak this Fries. And I went to a Sunday service meeting. Boy, it was really sort of strict Dutch. The older women all in black. Men all sort of smartly in black too, I think, actually, even the young ones. Packed to the rafters, this place, in a town called Urk, U-R-K. So very religious, believing people, the Dutch. Sorry about this, but I'm on blooming heart pills and it just makes this cough thing happen. I've just got to cough through it. It's not COVID. So here we are, the longest day. Well, last year, I bought a Panda motor car, a lovely blue Panda. Just been looking back at it. I've just got to keep on coughing and then it'll go. For this neighbour, essentially, who shall be nameless. And then that was on a Monday, as it happened last year, June, the longest day. I'd only just moved in here 3-4 weeks earlier. I've now renewed the tenancy for another year. I just paid next month's rent as well. By Friday, we'd managed to drown the poor little Panda motor on the causeway to the Holy Island. Well, it's now coming back, actually. This neighbour, who shall remain nameless, this woman, she was driving, very good driver, and she had, I must get home to feed my cats, I must get home to feed my cats. Now, the pub wouldn't serve us because they said the causeway's closing, so that's that. And I knew what to do, so into second gear, she was driving, but I knew, right, so low, but just determinedly low speed, but in second gear, right, and hold the centre line, because she's wavering off it, because then you're in the drink. Right, and then there's a little island thing to the rescue place. So the car then was on the dry land temporarily. We could go upstairs, so we were perfectly safe. I had this magic machine, so I could ring 999, and it was a full blooming rescue. RNI came with a little speedboat thing, the rubber one, and the police and everything, ambulance. I think they did an ECG on me and everything. Panda Motorcar said, "I am not a boat. I am sinking. Oh dear." If we hadn't made that island, we'd be dead. That's it. It's just too far to swim. And it would have been cold, that water. I shall never go anywhere near in a motorised vehicle on that causeway 2 hours either side of high tide. I've learnt my lesson. Boy. Anyway, so that was me last year. And this year, well, sadly, there's been another extraordinary sequence of monstrous behaviour from one neighbour in particular, but others too. It's a drug square. Everyone knows St Michael's Square is a drug square. Everyone I meet. "Oh, you're on St Michael's Square? Oh, do you mean the drug square?" Well, cannabis is legal in Holland in coffee shops. It's not legal in England. So if people are openly smoking it in front of children and everyone, that's illegal. I couldn't care less what people do, quite frankly. Let them go and... I mean, at school, the old headmaster used to say, far from railing against us smoking, he'd sort of say on the quiet, as it were, or whatever. His name was Mr. Hart, actually. He was a nice chap. Minor public school, Mill Hill. Oh, he'd say, "Oh, do go and smoke lots, chaps, because then you'll die young." Oh, he didn't actually. But that's, well... No, he actually told us off. Not me, because I didn't smoke then. There was a lecture about not smoking behind the bike sheds, in fact. But somewhere along this comment came up. Well, smoke yourself to death then. Good luck to you. This new cannabis apparently does your brain in. It's stronger than the old weed or whatever it is. It's one of the best treatments for certain medical conditions. I was training as a medical doctor. I do get it. It's just one of God's plants, and it has medicinal properties. But the fact is, the law has considered the matter in this country I'm living in now, my England, as it were. I am British, but I'm pretty much more English, quite frankly. I'm certainly not a proper Scot. I'm sort of a Londoner, but I lived there for 30 years, but I'm not even a proper Londoner, but I am a Christian. The problem is the illegality. Then the supply chain types, and then you move your way on up through to the serious drugs barons. So in Mexico, they're all blooming killing each other over the drugs. So I have a very clear view on these matters. I won't have it, basically. And the police have to act. They're being a little bit, shall we say, slow on the uptake, because exactly the same happened last year. I was offered this, again, I won't mention the names or anything, but I was offered cannabis, weed, a joint by a neighbour. I exploded, actually. Right, which upsets everyone. Right, well, I'm not repeating that. I do have just a few little grey cells up here. If I'm to live here peacefully, in the longer term, it's got to be stopped, and the police are the people to do it. Amen. Right, so I think enough of that. Actually, I've just been to Morrison's. What a surprise. And a chap showed me a picture. He was up at 4:30. I was up at 3:20, actually, but never mind. It was still, well, no, it was, getting light, actually. I mean, we're downhill to Christmas now, of course. Longest days. Oh, I don't know. He thought I was a druid. I wear my Christian tunic. I said, no, I'm a Christian, but I do sort of understand where you're coming from. I think I'm sure they make a big deal of it down at Stonehenge. See, Birdie's back. Surely this Birdie, or one of them, one of these youngsters, if you can see Birdie there behind the candle, I put oats out on the ledge for them. I left the door open this morning. It came right in. Somebody loves me. That is the picture. I want a quiet life. I've come here for St. Aidan, St. Cuthbert, the Venerable Bede, King Oswald, St. Wilfrid, but initially, back in the 70s, so getting on, not say at least 40 years ago, if not more, because of the Franciscan monks at Alnmouth. I love St. Francis of Assisi and the Poor Clares. St. Francis's dates are 1183 to 1226. He lived to the age of 44. I really absolutely think St. Francis was the most beautiful Christian spirit who's ever lived after the early saints and so on. Here we go. Can't hear it. The theme of European Union. Just 4 notes. Amen. The longest day.